If I could only keep one reptile species for the rest of my life, I would choose Woma Pythons. Every single time. They are probably the one species that I own that I wish I had 10 of, because they are such a truly unique and amazing species that I think everyone needs to have. All reptile owners need a Woma Python. So I'm going to give you 10 reasons why a Woma Python is a better option than ball pythons or corn snakes. But if you've never even heard of a Woma Python before, you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me give you a little bit of information about them. So Woma Pythons are an Australian species and they are part of the genus Aspidites. Aspidites in Latin means shield bearer because of the two huge scales that they have on the top of their head. The only other snake within this genus is the black-headed python, which is the Woma Python's bigger cousin. And both snakes make amazing pets, but I think Woma Pythons, out of the two of them, are perfect for a beginner reptile keeper or someone who's never owned a reptile before. So in no particular order, let's go through 10 things that I love about Woma Pythons and why I think they make one of, if not the best pet snake. Starting out with number 1, if you are from Australia, then this is the snake for you. It's quite rare that an Australian will stumble across a reptile video and be able to keep that animal because of the licensing laws and import and export laws in Australia. But because that's where Womas come from, you can have one as a pet. And they are a little bit different than your Antaresia, so like your spotted pythons or children's pythons that tend to be the ball python equivalent out there in Australia. But if you're not from Australia, then number 2, another reason why I love them is there is no morph obsession surrounding Woma Pythons. There are definitely people out there who are trying to get beautiful colorations out of them, which is completely fine. I love a unique colored snake, but ball pythons have been overbred so much that sometimes you can get neurological problems or other health related problems just because of the color that they portray. With Woma Pythons, you don't have to worry about that. Generally, the Woma Python that you are going to get is going to be a wild type or a normal colored Woma Python, and they are usually bred for strong genetics rather than a color. So you're more likely to end up with a healthier animal. Number 3. Their size is a perfect size. Woma Pythons get between 5 to 7 foot. So if you are looking for something that is a little bit bigger than a ball python, then I think a Woma is perfect for you. If you are from Australia, then you're more likely to get localities, which means their size is a bit more determined. You're going to know how big they get. Some of the localities stay a lot smaller than others, only reaching 4 to 5 foot. But generally, outside of Australia, your Woma is going to get around 6 foot long. This is a brilliant size for a new reptile keeper, as a bigger snake is easier to hold on to and handle, but they're also not super thick and strong like ball pythons. So that means if they wrap around a chair leg or your arm, they are easier to get off. Number 4. Woma Pythons are incredibly active, and in the wild, they can travel miles a day. They also have seasonal personality changes. I find during winter, Bicky will hang out more inside of his hide, only really coming out at nighttime, but still feeding. But we'll get onto that in a bit. And during summertime, when it's a bit warmer, he's out during the day, he's exploring, and he's very interactive. But one thing that I know with my Woma Python is that if I come into the reptile room, he's going to come and say hello. I can't say that about any of my other snakes. When he sees me, he wants to interact with me. Number 5. Woma Pythons can tolerate a wide range of temperatures and humidity fluctuations. Here in the UK, normal house humidity is perfectly fine for your Woma Python, which is about 60%. I'll give him a mist every now and then, especially when he's in shed, but if you have a large water bowl, then that'll keep their humidity exactly where it needs to be. Unlike ball pythons, their humidity requirements are constantly discussed online. No one can really agree on what humidity you keep them at, but in my opinion, ball pythons are a more humid species. And if ball python's humidity isn't right, then they can go off food, they can get respiratory infections, they can have shedding problems. My Woma has never had any of those issues being kept at normal house humidity. And if it does drop lower, they can deal with that perfectly fine too. These guys come from such a variety of habitats out in the wild that they can handle mistakes quite easily. So if it's a bit too hot or a bit too cold, then they will be perfectly fine. Number 6. Woma pythons have very unique behaviors and adaptations. It's one thing that I love about them. When I get to talk about Woma pythons, the first thing I talk about is the little eyebrows on the top of their head. Those eyebrows have two main purposes. They can reflect the sun away from the Woma python's eyes. Also, if they want to warm their body up without risking being out in the open, then they can pop their head outside of their burrow and warm themselves up via their eyebrows. Another unique feature is that Woma pythons were thought to have no heat pits, but in fact, they have teeny tiny heat pits underneath their top lip. And another super cool adaptation is the way that they eat. In the wild, these guys will use their slender body to pin their prey up against the side of burrows. They are less of a sit and wait for food predator and more of an active hunter. They will travel into bird burrows or lizard burrows and, like I said, pin them against the side to eat their food. It's super cool to watch. That isn't the only reason they have their slender body. They have that slender body so that they can touch as little of the hot sand as possible. When you look at the belly scales of a Woma python, they're super thin, and that's so they can move around without injuring themselves. Number 7, they have a great growth rate. They don't grow too slowly, but they also don't grow too quickly. Because I know for me personally, if a snake has a super fast growth rate, it can feel stressful to keep getting those upgrades ready. For me, I kept Bicky in a 3 foot, and then about 6 months later, I moved him into a 4 foot, and he's gonna be fine in that 4 foot for at least another couple of years. In 2 years, he went from a foot long to 4 foot long. So that's what I mean by they don't grow too slowly, because some baby ball pythons can take ages to get to their large counterparts. Number 8, and this has to be their best pro about them, and that is their feeding response. Bicky has never missed a meal. Not many ball python owners can say that. Now, I do believe that ball pythons and their picky feeding response can be due to husbandry, so it will be mistakes that you're making and not necessarily the personality of the snake. But it is nice to know that if you do make a couple mistakes, like your humidity is a bit off, that your snake is still gonna eat. They're not going to go off food for months at a time. It's very, very rare to hear that with Woma pythons. Now, their food response does actually put people off. Sometimes they don't want a snake that loves food, but I promise you with hook training, they aren't going to see you as food every time you reach into the enclosure. Which brings me on to number 9. Their body language is very easy to read. If your Woma is in food mode, it's very easy to tell. And as you grow with your Woma python, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's almost like he tells me that he's ready for a bigger food size, because I'll notice that he goes into food mode a little bit more often. Ball pythons are fairly easy to read too, but there isn't a lot of body language to read, whereas Womas have lots of different active hunting modes or curiosity modes, which I find adorable. And number 10. Woma pythons are so confident, so much more confident than ball pythons. I mean, ball pythons get their name because they ball up when they're scared. The only time I have seen Bicky somewhat timid or intimidated is when he was a tiny baby, and that was for the first week that I owned him. After he realized that I am a friend, I'm not here to hurt him, he has been brilliant. He is by far my easiest snake to handle. He is not skittish at all, so if I touch him with the hook, he doesn't run away. He just slithers on out of the enclosure. When he is out, he doesn't just sit in my lap and freeze up. He's very confident. He'll look around, he'll interact with me, he'll interact with things around him, and he does it all fairly slowly. In fact, I used Bicky as an educational animal when I did animal handling shows at schools, care homes, nurseries. He even went to the Big Bang Fair here in Birmingham, which is a science fair, and he didn't kick up a fuss. He's super confident, and he really does get a lot of enrichment of coming out of the enclosure. He benefits from it. So, are you going to get a Woma python? Let me know down in the comments below. And also let me know if you'd like me to do the opposite of this video where I talk about why you shouldn't get one. Because reptiles aren't all sunshines and rainbows. There are some cons too. But I'm not gonna lie, there's not many of them. If you're thinking about getting a Woma python, then get one. And if you want to learn about how to care for them, I have a full video on my channel that you can go and check out, and it will pop up on the end screen card right after this. So, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.